Hi guys, in this video I want to talk about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, about the fighting. This is the first Super Smash title that I played ever, and I just bought a Nintendo Switch a few days ago, and this is actually my first Nintendo console. Now I have to admit that I had high expectations for this game. I read a lot about it before, and of course I watched many videos, and the good thing is that it didn't disappoint. Now, it's worth mentioning that I didn't play the online just yet, and actually I came to this game thinking about I'm just gonna play online because I love online games so much, and I was quite surprised that I was actually enjoying playing against the computer, and there's a reason for this. This is a skill-based game, and it takes a lot of time for a player, especially if a total newbie player like myself, to learn the moves and not just learn them, but actually know where the best time to use them, understand your opponents, learn what the other opponent's strengths and weaknesses, and you need to get to a point where you feel confident enough to go online and start fighting against real players. Now that aside, let's talk about the actual fighting mechanics, and I'm going to tell you what I like about it so much. So the first one is fluidity and responsiveness. This is a fast-paced fighting game, so you want this game to have a fast control move registration, no visual lag or pauses, an ability to quickly switch between different moves, and it has all that. After some time that you get comfortable with the control, I'm not talking about mastering the controls, I'm talking just being comfortable with the control, the game starts feeling really good. Now I'm using the Pro controller, the official controller for the Nintendo Switch, but I also bought and I'm still waiting to receive the GameCube controller. I just want to check it out, see which one I prefer best. The second thing is a great tracking 3D camera movement. Now the 3D camera automatically tracks your characters when you play. Of course, you don't need to do anything, it just tracks your character and makes sure that you have a good view of your character and your opponent at the same time. Now, the camera will prefer and prioritize close-up, so we can clearly see your moves and your opponents, and your character in larger scale. However, when the opponent is far away from you, the camera just zoom out, and then you can see where your enemy is located. But again, when you play it on a small screen, it's very important that you see the characters in pretty large size. And in this case, when the two players are close together, the camera will stay close to them, and you can see both of the players in large size. The other thing is visuals. I mean, just look at these beautiful vistas, and the fight is taking place at a high ground, like a floating island. This is just so beautiful. Now, there are plenty of levels that look different from this. Some of them are less visually exciting, and some are even better. And the thing is that there are also really nice visual effects for almost everything you do in this game. Now, this is of course important, not just to make you enjoy the game better, but also to help you understand which types of moves you're executing and the enemy executing if the camera is further away from the screen. So this is important for both reasons. Stage variations. The game has 103 stages in total, and probably more will be added in DLCs. Now, there are so many levels that each fight, if you play on random stages, is gonna feel different. And not just that, there are even dynamic stages that changes, as you play, and this is just insane. It's important for players to understand, get familiar with all the stages, because some characters are better for in certain stages, other in other stages. So it depends on the character's skill set. Some, for example, characters that are built around zoning, or maybe a close range fight. There we see that some stages are bad for them, some stages are good for their tactics. Huge character roster. Now, although I think that many players will only main only a few characters, I'm personally just focusing on trying to be good with just two characters, Meta Knight and Pikachu, as for now. The reason for this is that it requires a lot of time and effort to trying to master many characters at the same time. As a new player, I see this as something amazing because I can just change characters and trying to find the one that I enjoy playing the most. On the other end, it's not easy to fight against other players because you need to learn many character moves in order to know how to counter them. That's why it's very important to gain skill in this game and try to play with the character that you are meaning, as many fights as possible, and it's all about experience from that point on. Now, having a large selection of characters also mean a high replay value because players will probably want to try out other types of characters, and sometimes the meta changes and they want to switch and try out characters that are better counter for the character that are stronger than meta. So again, high replay value is a good thing. Now, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate also has a large selection of items. These items can be things that the character can pick up or interact with. Now, having a diverse selection of items means that each fight will also feel different and dynamic. However, some players prefer playing without them because I think that some of them are quite, can break up the game and make the game feel unbalanced. Rich selection of character moves. Now, I'm speaking as a total beginner here, but there's a quite large selection of defensive and attack moves for each character. And of course, let's not forget the really unique smash attack that is very unique to each character. Now, for me as a newbie, a player, it's very interesting because it takes time for me to learn all these types of moves, and it just makes the fighting feel more rich compared to other fighting games that I played. It felt more monotonous. This also means that the game has a higher learning curve, but I found it more accessible for new players compared to games like Mortal Kombat X, for example. But because all that, when I win fights, I feel a great degree of satisfaction. It's not like you have like 3 moves and you say to yourself, oh, I was lucky and winning a certain fight. You really feel that you get control over those moves, that you achieve something, and when you execute them, doing some combos, you feel good. You feel, oh, I mastered something in this game, and you just feel this satisfaction during the game and also when winning a fight. But this also works the other way around. When you fail, it's your problem. You know that you made something wrong. Platforming. Now, not all levels have platforms, but many of them do. And this is something about the game, the use of elevation, that makes this game stand out from the rest compared to Mortal Kombat, for example. So, in some ways, you feel that, you can find, especially if you're a new player like myself, you can find that you have time to move around and, evade the enemy and maybe hide, instead of being vulnerable all the time. Of course, it also requires players to make sure that they build some tactics around understanding where the platform are located. Some characters might want their opponent to be on top of the platform and headbutting from below. Others will try to maneuver around it and try to quick attack the enemy from different locations or flanking. So there's plenty of ways to use those platforms into your advantage as offensive and defensive tactics. Multiplayer combat. Now, the online mode supports up to 4 players, but you can play the game locally with friends up to 8 players. Now, I always wanted to play a fighting game when you can play more than just 1 by 1. I'm nothing against 1 by 1, but sometimes you just want to play alongside a friend or with a friend or with another player, and this game gives it to you. So, for example, in Mortal Kombat, you can just play 1 versus 1. Now, let's not forget that the game was designed first and foremost as a party game, so you can just invite friends over and just play against them and have fun. Now, it can get really chaotic when you play 4 players in such small stages, let alone 8 players, but this is part of the fun. So if you just one of those people who get bored from 1 versus 1, I think you're gonna find that 2 versus 2 or 8 players locally is gonna be something that you're gonna enjoy, and it's gonna feel completely different to other fighting games that you tried previously. Fantastic music tracks. Now, I need to tell you something. I told you that this is the first time I play Super Smash Bros. In general, and I don't know what to say. I was shocked how good the music is. The first time, when I launched the game, it was so beautiful, inspirational, and elevating. The music in this game is insane. There are so many tracks, and just playing a fighting game like this, cartoony and humoristic fighting game, just make the gameplay so much more exciting and fun. 60 FPS. Now, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate runs at 60 frames per second on both docked and when it's undocked. So this means that the game feels super smooth, and actually is also very responsive. And you know, this is the way those types of games should be played. This means that everything in this game, all the fighting feels so fast, responsive, and natural. You know, it's just fun. And I don't even want to think about how we would play if it was 30 frames per second, but it doesn't matter. It plays in 30 frames per second, whether it's docked or not, and you can just enjoy a very smooth fighting experience. Throw distance percentage. Now this is something new to me because I got used to just, you know, you have a health bar, and if your opponent reaches 0, you eliminate him, same goes to you. But here it's different. In Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and in Super Smash Bros. Games in general, there's a percentage, and the higher the percentage, the longer the throw. Now, of course, there are some things that are quite similar. Like if you have low HP, you probably would be more careful. But same goes if you have a higher percentage here in this game. Yet still, the game feels that let's say it like this: I'm more courageous in this game compared to if I had like a low health. So I just go, and I try to attack my enemy regardless, because I want to get those percentage up in order to have a chance to eliminate my enemy. Off-stage elimination. Now this is something so cool in Super Smash Bros. Games. You can actually make your opponent lose a game if he drops down from the stage and isn't able to climb up. So the great thing about this is that even if your character has a high percentage and your opponent is low one, you can still try find ways, to eliminate the enemy by just making sure he drops out of the stage and isn't able to climb up. So this is unlike other games where you are forced to make sure that your opponent health reaches 0. Here, even if you are in the kind of a bad situation, you can still win a fight by just taking advantage of this option. So in summary, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is an amazing fighting game. Wow, I mean, I enjoy it so much, better than any fighting game that I played previously. I only talked about the fighting itself. Of course, there are other modes, game modes, and other stuff, and so many content in this game. I mean, for a fighting game, it has really a large amount of content. But I'm just talking about the fighting. The fighting itself feels so much fun. And while I got bored from other fighting games so fast, this game just kept me enjoy playing it over and over again. And I'm just getting started. Now, this game is so amazing that I like playing multiplayer games mostly. And the thing is that this is, a game that right now I'm just playing as a single player, playing versus AI, and I enjoy it still so much. This is how good this game is. Yeah, this is it. This is the reasons, some of the reasons why I enjoy playing this game so much. If you are on the fence, you haven't decided whether you want to buy it or not, I think this video can help you out. Yeah, until the next video, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Have a great week.